Alright, after a little bit of a hiatus, I have finally decided to come back and do another video, and this one's going to be on A Quiet Place Part 2. So if you've seen the first movie, you don't really need me to explain why this is such a fresh and original take on horror. The only problem is the fact that, although the first movie was original and fresh, the second movie is also original when it comes to the entire genre as a whole, but it still doesn't really do anything that the first didn't. Really, the only new thing that it actually adds to the entire story as a whole is just how everything started, basically seeing when these things arrived, how it affected everyone. And if you are interested in that, like I was, then this is a good movie to watch. So to just sum up the plot, this movie takes place directly right after the first movie, and it just shows the family just leaving home after, all the events where they had to fight the monsters after the father died. It just basically takes place with them trying to just, venture out to see what else is out there. I think this does wonders for the setting, but unfortunately it doesn't do too much, simply because of the fact that 80% of the world is just dead people. Everywhere they go, it's just kind of like, oh, there's a dead person here or a dead person there. It doesn't truly show anything really interesting that's going on in the world. From a storytelling point of view, none of these characters are really interesting. The reason why I liked all of these characters in the first movie was because they were a family. They worked really well together as a family. Like the love that they shared, the way they tried to protect each other, it all worked very well. But with the second movie, with Jim basically being dead, I know his name's not Jim, but I forget what his actual name, Lee, I'll say Lee. Since Lee's dead, and since the family basically scatters apart on their own side quests throughout the second movie, it feels like there's too much of a division between them, and alone, they just don't really work well. Especially because of when it comes to the side quests, their motives don't make too much sense to me. They all seem to split up doing their own thing, but it never makes sense to why they really are doing that, especially why they're doing everything alone. It really just was an excuse on the writer's part to make more tension. If I have to give any credit to the characters, it has to be just the actors in general. I like the acting a lot in this movie. I like the fear that they give off, the pain they give off. It all feels very real. One of the things I really did love about this movie was the tension. This movie is just like the first one, is just pure tension. It always has you at the edge of your seat. You're always just wondering how things could go wrong, because there's always 1,000 things in this movie that could go wrong. And because, basically everything's placed in such ways where you can see that they can make sounds almost doing everything, and seeing them do everything in their power to not make the sounds, just like the first one, it just has you at the edge of your seats whenever you're watching it, because you just wonder how the hell they're going to get out of it. But when it comes to the ending, I feel like there's way too much to be desired. Just like the first movie, the ending of this movie ends too abruptly. I mean, the first movie was fine. It ended just at the right note. Like how in the first movie, it ends on a cool action scene, and it just leaves us to ponder what exactly happens to the family once the movie ends. It just leaves us to speculate. This movie does the same exact thing, where it ends very quickly, just very abruptly in the middle of the scene, and the credits just roll. But in this movie, it ends too abruptly. The entire scene is like basically just like the scene in the last movie, but there's nothing really special about it. It's like for the ending, there's no time for us to even celebrate the victory. There's no time for us to mourn on anyone who's been lost. It doesn't feel like it ends. The movie feels like it just stops. The cinematography was good for like the ending scene. Compared to the last one, the cinematography was really beautiful. But as an audience member for the ending, it just felt too jarring. It just felt too weird to just see the movie stop like that. It has one of those endings that basically forces you to see the next movie that's going to come out. All in all, I'd rate this movie about 3.5 stars. This movie had amazing tension, and it's a pretty cool plot too, but it didn't really do anything different from the first movie. That being said, I still can't wait to watch the third movie to see if they can redeem themselves with this. I just want to see how they actually stick the landing with this entire movie franchise. This video was a little bit on the shorter side, but it's only because I didn't have too much to actually say about this movie, because it was okay. It was better than average, but it was cool. But it wasn't great, so that's all I have to really say about it. If you want to see more videos like this, then please make sure to like and subscribe. If you had different opinions on what I had for this movie, then please say them down in the comments. If you agreed, also say down in the comments, please. And yeah, see you.